Surviving the PvP chaos out in the deep desert has never been more important than it is right now. We now have first week and about to have a second week completed where everybody is going to be out in the deep desert and coming with full force. At one point we thought that deep desert was going to be massive, but it appears like it has shrunk a little bit once we start looking closer at how many people are getting shot out of the sky. But this is not to say you cannot survive out there in the deep desert, because there are a few ways that you can try to work and avoid getting caught by these bigger PvP guilds out in the deep desert, and we're gonna talk about it. First and foremost, if you are a solo or a small guild trying to get out into the deep desert to get your hands on those in-game ores as well as the spice, you need to always be realistic about how deep you can actually go into that deep desert. Now, I've made another video that comes back and explains exactly how the deep desert works in terms of 1 through 9 and A through I, and we've pretty much outlined exactly where you can find more or less all of the big ore sites that the big boys are going to be trying to secure and hold up on during the week when the deep desert is active. So there are certain areas that will be a little bit safer for you. This does not assure you the safety. Anyone can fly over and see you, and then you are just in trouble when that happens. But primarily, be realistic about how deep you can actually take your guild into that deep desert, because you do not want to get caught out whenever there are 5 or 6 people who are ready to do nothing but destroy you. So be realistic. First of all, plan just how deep you need to go and make it short, quick trips. Secondly, make sure that you have the right skills attached with your planetologist. Now, there are 2 skills that are fundamentally kind of must-haves if you're going to be out there and you're going to be trying to survive. First off is going to be that fuel-efficient pilot. This is saving you 25% of the given fuel. This is going to allow you to get up there higher without burning as much fuel as some people who are just throwing everything into PvP points. Now, if you're a small farmer, you should be thinking about this over some of those ground-based PvP or PvE skills whenever you're out in the deep desert. You really aren't going to be doing a lot of foot fighting. Everything is going to be in the air. So make sure that your fuel efficiency is maxed out to 3, and overheating management is going to also be a massive skill that you can put in there that will kind of give you a little bit of an edge, because many people who are PvP orientated aren't exactly thinking about how their Ornithopter pilot skills are being used. They are more or less adjusting stuff into their PvP ground battle, and this could actually come to your advantage if you are very secure and safe. The next thing I can say is take off any skins that you have on your Ornithopter. It is a given known fact that if you are using that Atreides or that Harkonnen skin, the variant of the Ornithopter, your hitbox has swollen. And it's just going to be a lot easier for someone to shoot rockets at you and bring your ship down. So if you are using the Harkonnen or Atreides variant, take that thing off before you go into the deep desert. Make your hitbox as small as you possibly can, and then try to stay alive with that in mind. Now, the next tip that I'll throw out there is the fact that you don't need to have a Mark 6 Ornithopter in order to put Mark 6 components on your Ornithopter at the given moment. And what we're trying to get at here is when you have your Scout Ornithopter, you can literally place the Scout Ornithopter MK6 wings on your MK5. You can do the same thing with the engine as well. So basically, these 2 things are vast upgrades in terms of maneuverability, and whenever you're trying to get from point A to point B and avoid rockets, these 2 things are going to help out a serious bunch. And On top of that, you can come, I'm sure the Atreides size has something similar, but for us, what we do is come to the vehicle vendor in Harco Village here at the end. So you spawn in here, you kind of just run all the way to the end. And at this vehicle vendor guy, you can talk to him and you can buy a specific type of wings known as the Albatross Wing Modules MK5s. Now, these make you go faster, so it increases your speed. So if you are with that Mark V and you just want to have more speed but don't have the amount of components to put the Mark VI wings on, come over here and buy the Albatross wing module for the MK5s. This once again will increase your speed. It will help you get from point A to point B a lot faster. Now, the final bit of survival advice that I can pass down to you from my experience out in the deep desert, from not only hunting people, but also trying to stay alive when I'm doing solo activities when other people are asleep, is to carefully think through your routes and plans before you take off and know where you will be going. So once again, as explained in another video linked in the tag above, you can see that there are 3 kind of given zones that you need to be thinking about whenever you're playing. First of all, A zone is the PvE. You should just go ahead and build a forward base here. That way you can carry stuff back. Not only that, but crafting things in the deep desert are cheaper. So it pays to have some kind of base in that PvE zone so that you can craft things a lot cheaper and get out into the deep desert itself. Now, B and C in this scenario is really just more basic Haga resources. But once you hit D, E, and F, you will start noticing that there are titanium and stravinium nodes that are starting to get speckled amongst the basic Haga Rift variants that are out there. So if you are solo or very small, don't be trying to go deep into the game. Like E through I is going to be very scary for anybody who tries to get out there. But of course, D and E itself, I mean, these are the places you can be acceptable if you're just trying to get basic resources really quick by hand so that you can bring them back, process them, and then start turning them into more advanced gear, items, or vehicles. The other thing that I would say is make sure you know the lanes. If you are caught over the sandy desert, of course, if your Ornithopter is about to get destroyed, you can land it and you can pocket it with your backup tool. However, if you're in the sand, you're gonna lose absolutely everything. So what I'm trying to say here is, before you go out there, pick the lane that has the most rock islands running along it. So for example, this week, I think every island in the middle, or every zone in the middle, had little rocky islands. This is very, very important, because if you are caught out there in PvP zones and people start shooting at you, you can literally try to escape. And if you start noticing your ship is taking considerable damage and is not going to make it, you can land on one of these rocky islands, pocket it. If they kill you, who cares? You're going to lose whatever's in your inventory. You're going to respawn back at your PvE base in A, but you will still have your Ornithopter. What people are not understanding right now about the PvPers out in this zone is they don't really care so much about the resources that you are carrying on your person. They care about destroying your Ornithopter, because Ornithopters at this point in the game are not exactly cheap to craft. You're going to have to go back, you're going to have to get all of the aluminum, turn it into duraluminum, go get all of the cobalt paste and all the other things that take time so that you can get back out there and try to achieve certain goals. So make sure that you are following a lane which has plenty of rocky islands inside of it, and just try not to go too deep. Now, finally, the one bit of information that I can pass on to you that I know is a proven fact is, try to get all of your resources after dark. I myself am out there patrolling, and I've also been able to avoid a lot of people by flying low to the dunes during the nighttime. Sure, you're not able to see the worms. Sure, it's a little bit harder to maneuver and do things, but in the night, if you already know where all the resources are that you are searching for, your chances of being spotted by a group are a lot less. So what I find to be the best way to get out there is sit at your A base during the day and then travel to the location right as it's getting dark, do the mining as quickly as you can, jump back in your ship, and then bring it back to process it to turn it into something better. Now, as always, I know a lot of people are going to feel the pain of PvP out here in the deep desert, but this is what you've signed on for. You bought this game knowing that it not only has a PvE section, but also a whole area at the end game for PvP. It does kind of suck that you're not able to get out there and mine the spice and mass harvest a lot of these different materials that are out there, but that's the game. We've always known that Funcom was pushing this game to be more advantageous for group play, and that's what group play is bringing. So if you are solo or a very small group, just make sure that you are planning your routes properly, doing it at the right time, you have all the skills put together, and you are thinking about getting in and getting out to a safe area as quickly as you possibly can, every chance that you get out there. I hope that this video helps you guys. These are all experiences that not only I experienced doing solo work out in the deep desert, but also as I am patrolling stuff with my bigger guild. So please take everything in mind and be safe while you're flying your Ornithopters out there. Thanks for watching and have a great day.